All right, today we're going to talk about a really powerful way to break free from that business as usual mindset. It's a method that's not just about imagining the future, it's about actually building it.
You know how it is, right? So many businesses, they eventually just hit a wall. Everyone's looking at the same data, the same charts, and, big surprise, they all come up with the same tiny incremental ideas. It's like a corporate echo chamber.
So what do? How do you escape that maze? Because the truth is, real breakthrough ideas, they don't come from just analyzing what you already know. They demand a leap of imagination. But where do you find the map for a leap like that?
Okay, let's dive in. Section 1, Unlocking Futures with SF. Well, the answer, believe it or not, probably isn't in another boardroom meeting. It's on a bookshelf, in the world of science fiction.
This brings us to something called SF prototyping. And no, it's not just brainstorming with a sci-fi theme. This is a structured process where companies literally hire science fiction authors to write stories that challenge everything they think they know. And this isn't some fringe idea. We're talking about giants like Microsoft and Intel using this to dream up completely new products and markets.
Okay, but you might be thinking, why novels? Why not just, watch a bunch of futuristic movies? And that's a great question, because the answer really gets to the magic of how this whole thing works. And here's the key difference. A movie, well, it just hands you a fully baked future, right? It's all polished and done, you just sit back and watch. But a novel makes you do the work. It gives you the blueprint, and your brain has to build the world, fill in the gaps. And it's right there, in that act of creation, that brand new ideas start to spark.
And look, this idea isn't new. The power of storytelling has been shaping our reality for over a century. We're talking Jules Verne dreaming up a submarine way back in 1870. Isaac Asimov basically wrote the user manual for robots in 1950, and Neil Stephenson, he was exploring the metaverse decades before it became a tech buzzword. SF writers give us these hints, these scenarios that jolt our thinking in new directions.
So, how does this actually play out in a company? Let's get into Section 2, the two-story process. It's a surprisingly structured approach, all built around two distinct workshops and two very different kinds of stories.
You can think of it like a two-step dance. First, there's idea divergence. That's all about opening the floodgates, thinking big, going wide. Then you move to idea convergence, which is where you take all that wild creative energy and focus it into something concrete.
Here's how it breaks down. In that first divergence phase, the author writes what's called a catalyst story. It's designed to be provocative, to spark debate and shatter old assumptions. Then, in the convergence phase, the team takes all the ideas from that discussion and builds their own future plot. The author then takes that and professionally crafts it into a final grounded story.
I know, this can sound a little abstract, so let's make it real. Section 3, Case Study, D-World. We're going to look at a real-world example of this process in action.
So often, it all starts with a big, powerful what-if question. For this project with author Yugen Yashima, the question was huge. What if we could create life that is a literal mirror image of our own? Okay, so the science here is it's wild. Basically, all life on Earth is chemically left-handed, built on something called L-amino acids. The big idea here was, what if you could create right-handed life using D-amino acids? A perfect mirror. For us lefties, these right-handed substances could have tastes and smells that no human has ever experienced.
And that's exactly what the story D-World was all about. It took this mind-bending science and created a world, a space colony no less, where it wasn't just a theory, it was a business, a brand new market for bizarre, exotic flavors and aromas. See how that story takes a super complex idea and just makes it tangible? Gives it a human context?
So let's bring this all home. Section 4, Your Blueprint for Tomorrow. After all this, what's the big takeaway? What does SF prototyping really offer a business?
And honestly, this quote says it all. This method is not a telescope to predict the future. It is a blueprint to build one. And that is such a critical distinction. It's not about guessing what's coming in 10 years. It's about deciding what you want to happen, and then creating a tangible, compelling vision that your whole team can actually get excited about and work towards.
Which really just leaves us with one final, provocative thought for you. If you use the power of story to break free from the maze of today's assumptions, what new worlds, what impossible future could you and your team start to imagine and then actually go out and build?